Bonjour à toutes et à tous et merci de nous joindre dans la salle de presse virtuelle de la Commission européenne et merci de nous suivre aussi en direct sur Europe by Satellite. Nous sommes le vendredi 28 août. Permettez-moi d'appeler de maintenant Balázs sur le podium pour vous faire une annonce sur une action dans le cadre du pont aérien humanitaire que l'Union européenne organise pour soutenir les pays partenaires dans la lutte contre le coronavirus.
Tout à fait. Donc, on va continuer avec les ponts aériens humanitaires aujourd'hui. Depuis début mai, l'Union européenne a coordonné 66 opérations. Nous avons transporté jusqu'ici plus de 1200 tonnes de matériel médical et d'équipements de protection et plus de 1700 personnels médicaux et humanitaires vers les régions et les communautés les plus vulnérables au coronavirus. Un nouveau vol du pont aérien humanitaire atterrira aujourd'hui à Abidjan, en Côte d'Ivoire. Ce vol affrété par l'Union européenne a décollé de Lyon, en France, pour transporter 7,5 tonnes de matériel essentiel. La cargaison comprend des tenues, des masques, des réfrigérateurs médicaux, afin de protéger et d'assurer l'accès aux soins de santé de la population ivoirienne, alors que la pandémie du coronavirus continue. Les opérations vont bien évidemment continuer pendant les semaines à venir, avec plusieurs vols prévus vers diverses destinations.
Thank you very much, Balázs. Now, allow me to remind you that today is the last day of the informal meeting of EU Foreign Affairs Ministers, which is taking place in Berlin. The closing press conference will take place at about 2:30 this afternoon, and the questions related to the agenda of the Gymnich meeting will be addressed there. Of course, our Foreign Affairs team is always here at your disposal. With this, we are ready to open the floor to your questions today. And I see already a hand raised, which is that of Lily. Lily, please go ahead. Hello, Lily. Are you connected?
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you now.
Great. So I have a question about the saga that has been preoccupying us most of the week. I was wondering if you have an update for us on when specifically President von der Leyen is expecting the two names from Dublin for commissioner candidates. And I was also wondering whether, in light of what has happened, the president is going to put out any new guidelines for commissioners and staff members regarding COVID, travel, and so on. Thank you.
Lily, so on the first part of it, as I said yesterday, President von der Leyen had yesterday a phone conversation with the Irish Taoiseach. And in that phone conversation, the President informed the Taoiseach of the resignation of Phil Hogan from the post as Trade Commissioner. And she further informed him that now it is up to the Irish government to propose names for a commissioner of Irish nationality. And as I also informed you yesterday, and as the President said in her statement yesterday morning, she indicated that she would like to receive the names of at least two candidates, a woman and a man. She has made that request to all governments when they have nominated their commissioners. As to the timeline, the ball is now in the court of the Irish government, and we are waiting for their suggestions for candidates. Regarding the second question, I believe that the code of conduct applying to commissioners is already very clear that high standards of ethical and moral conduct is expected from the commissioners. And with regard specifically to the coronavirus relevant rules, the President herself had yesterday in the same statement that I mentioned that it was important for her that the rules, regulations and recommendations pertaining to public health in the context of the coronavirus are respected scrupulously by everybody. I can quote from her statement. The President said that in the current circumstances, as Europe fights to reduce the spread of the coronavirus and Europeans make sacrifices and accept painful restrictions, I expect members of the College to be particularly vigilant about compliance with applicable national or regional rules and recommendations. Commissioners are informed, obviously, about the rules which are applicable to their circumstances, depending on where they have spent the last weeks. So we believe that the matter is pretty clear. I will now invite you to ask additional questions about this matter, if you have any. And I am trying to reconnect to the system to see if anyone indicated an interest. No, I don't see any hand raised about this matter. In this case, I will invite you to, to ask any other questions about other matters that you may have for us today. And I see that Catherine has her hand raised. Catherine, please go ahead.
Hello, Dana. I appreciate that you're not really taking questions on foreign affairs issues, but I was wondering if you had anything to say about the death of human rights lawyer Ebru Timtik. She's lost her life in hospital after 238 days of hunger strike. She was demanding a fair trial, and she was charged under Turkey's sweeping terrorism-related laws, which essentially mean anybody who disagrees with Erdogan can face prison. So I'm wondering if you've got anything to say about her death, and also about fellow lawyer Aytash Ünsal, who is also on hunger strike. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Catherine. And indeed, I will invite Peter to connect to provide you our reactions to that. Peter, are you on the line?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Catherine. Indeed, we've been following this case and other related cases very closely. We are deeply saddened by the death of Ebru Timtik, who was a lawyer who was on hunger strike for more than 200 days, following her conviction last year for alleged membership in a terrorist organization. Ebru Timtik's hunger strike for a fair trial and its tragic outcome painfully illustrate the urgent need for the Turkish authorities to credibly address the human rights situation in the country and serious shortcomings observed in the Turkish judiciary. A strong and independent legal profession, along with an independent judiciary, is a core principle of a fair justice system that upholds the rule of law and allows for the effective protection of human rights in the country. And the European Union has repeatedly stressed on many occasions, and we would like to recall also today, that Turkey urgently needs to demonstrate concrete progress on the rule of law and fundamental freedoms, which are cornerstones of the relations between the European Union and Turkey.
Much, Peter. I will now invite you to ask questions to Peter on this matter, if you have any. No, I don't see any hands raised. I will now invite you to ask other questions to Peter if you have on other matters that are not on the Gymnich agenda, because those, as we said, will be addressed and questions will be provided by the High Representative Borrell himself. No, I do not see any questions for Peter today. So allow me to enlarge now the floor to any other questions that you may have today. I see that Lily is interested in asking a question. Lily, go ahead.
Hi, it's me again. On a different subject, on Brexit, there has been a report that Mr. Barnier told the UK government that negotiations will not move forward until the UK explains what its future policy will be on industrial subsidies. I was wondering if you could confirm whether that is true. Thank you.
Ariana takes Brexit questions this week. However, it will be very difficult for her to make comments about reports alleging that Mr. Barnier said something. But Ariana, please go ahead with our position.
Indeed. Hi, Dana. Hi, Lily. We do not comment on press reports, as Dana has correctly said. As always, as I said yesterday, we are engaging in good faith and constructively. We are working hard with the United Kingdom to overcome what are significant divergencies that remain between us. And the position remains the one that Mr. Barnier has presented last Friday at the end of the last negotiation round, or the latest negotiation round.
Thank you, Ariana. I will now invite you to ask additional questions to Adriana on Brexit, if you have any. So please keep your hand raised if you have Brexit-related questions at this stage. Well, I see that Ekrem's hand is raised, and I deduct then that Ekrem has a question for Ariana. So please go ahead, Ekrem.
No, sorry, it's for Peter Stan. I just missed him. If I can make it now or until later, once you're finished. Sorry.
That's not a problem.
That's not a problem.
I don't see any other questions for Ariana at this stage. No other hands raised. So yes, please, let's go back to Peter. So please ask your question.
Peter, welcome back, Peter, from your holidays. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed.
The dialogue mediated by Mr. Lajčák between Kosovo and Serbia. The first concerns the economic issues. People in Pristina, either in Belgrade, are not speaking or trying to explain what is what are the economic issues that are being discussed. Now, questions are in both countries are like, are they going to build a new highway? Are going to build a new railway, a new airport, or are going to talk about the natural resource of Kosovo, like Lake of Gazivoda or Uman or Trepča mine? That's first. Second, we see that Serbia is trying to put on the table what was signed and in 2015 and brought down by the Constitutional Court of Kosovo, which is about the special powers for sub-minority in 10 municipalities, which is called the Association of Serb Municipalities. Now, considering that the ruling of Constitutional Court, how can it be the same issue brought again at the table? Does Mr. Lajčák has an idea that we don't know?
Hi, Ekrem. Thank you. As you know, yesterday the negotiators or the delegations from both sides met in Brussels to continue the EU facilitated talks at expert level. We are not, since these are expert level meetings, we are not providing a running commentary on what is discussed, what is the mood, what comes on the table, what comes off the table. The aim of the expert talks is to prepare next high-level meeting that will be in September in Brussels between the Serbian president and Kosovo Prime Minister, and to deal with all open issues which need to be solved in order to advance with the normalization and to arrive to signature of an agreement, legally binding agreement, where all the open issues will be closed and solved once for all. So this is the framework of the dialogue. This is the main aim of the EU facilitation, and whatever has been agreed needs to be implemented, and whatever needs to be on the table will be discussed. And if there is something that doesn't belong on the table, it will be the EU facilitation will make sure that we continue in the good spirit of facilitating the dialogue so that both sides are able to keep talking together and finding solutions to all the open issues. And this is an ongoing process, of course, because there will be more meetings. The meetings will continue both on expert level and higher level until the mutually satisfactory solutions are found.
Thank you, Peter, and lovely to hear your daughter's voice. This is the spokespeople in coronavirus times, as anyone else. I see that Ekrem has a follow-up question for you, so Ekrem, please go ahead. Ekrem, I hope that you can connect and you can ask your follow-up question.
Sorry, I'm weak with these buttons. Peter, can you please tell us whether Mr. Lajčák has spoken lately with Mr. Grenell? I'm referring here to the economic issues that he has announced, like Shenzhen, whatever he called it, economic area of China type. And what's going on? Who's going to take responsibility? What's going to be discussed on economic issues in here and who in Washington? We are totally confused.
Again, the EU facilitation is focused on facilitating the dialogue between Serbia and Kosovo in order to enable them or to help them to find an agreement on normalization of their relations. This is an ongoing process, it's a diplomatic process, of course, where everyone has to understand that there is no running commentary provided on every single word, on every single item on the agenda, or on every single meeting. As for the contacts of the EU Special Representative Lajčák, his daily job is to be in touch with everyone who is relevant for his job. Again, since this is an everyday working routine, we are not confirming, denying, announcing, or providing readouts from his conversations, from his phone calls, from his Twitter exchanges or WhatsApp exchanges, from his conversations and interactions, which are part of his daily job in order to be able to perform his job. And who does what? I think we were very clear on numerous occasions. The European future of Kosovo and Serbia goes or leads through the path of the EU facilitated dialogue. Within this dialogue, all the open issues, that means issues which are a source of maybe disagreements or different point of views between Serbia and Kosovo, are being tackled, and we are helping to both sides to find agreeable solutions, compromise if you want, so that they are able to close that issue, find an agreement on it, and move on to another open issue. Issues which you are asking about, economic projects, about concrete stuff, is also very important. And we are focusing on it in our EU-Kosovo relations, for example, where EU has invested over 1 billion euros over the last decade in Kosovo, exactly for these things, to improve infrastructure, to improve daily life of people in Kosovo. So this is being tackled along the way also in the relation of Kosovo's relations with the EU. And again, who does what? EU-facilitated dialogue is focused on finding an agreement, legally binding agreement on the normalization of relations, so that both countries can proceed on their EU path. Whatever both partners are doing with other parties and serves to support the dialogue is a welcome activity. And if it brings tangible results, sustainable results, that help both Serbia and Kosovo to move on in normalization and on their modernization and on their European path, it's a positive initiative. And of course, US is an important partner. And every time we work with the US together on something, we see only positive results. And this hopefully will be the case also in the case of Serbia-Kosovo dialogue and all the supporting events which are organized between the two countries in order to help them to find a common ground.
Thank you very much, Peter, for a very comprehensive answer. I would now invite you to ask additional questions to Peter, if you have any. On the Balkans, first, I don't see any hand raised, or any other questions for Peter on other foreign affairs matters that are not covered by the Gimnik press conference later today. No, I don't see any interest at this stage to ask questions to Peter, so thank you very much, Peter. And I will now invite you to ask questions about any other issues. We enlarge the floor again, so please raise your hand if you have other questions to ask today. I do not see any hand raised at this stage. Therefore, I will wish you a very good weekend, and we will see each other on Monday. Bye-bye.